All right, I guess we clocked in. All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. What's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, it's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, what I do as a spiritual healer, guys, is that I help people to become mentally and emotionally balanced. And the whole idea of helping you to become mentally and emotionally balanced, it's just so it allows you to attain the highest level of consciousness. In other words, that's what we call becoming the Christ-like, the Buddha-like, the Krishna-like. What all of these symbols or people personas represents, they they all represent the highest level of consciousness. And I'm gonna get to break this down a little bit further when I'm gonna be talking about spirituality in a whole different level for you guys tonight. So if you ever heard me talking about spirituality tonight, you're gonna love it. I was inspired. It's like because I was, but anyway, I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm way ahead of myself here. All right, but most importantly, for those of you who are coming back too, I'm just acting out for you. This is all for you. But anyway, making a long story short, pretty much the whole idea of helping you to become mentally and emotionally balanced is just so you can have the highest perspective, the highest consciousness, right? So now when we're talking about or becoming the Christ-like, and just like I was saying, when you look at the Christ, Krishna, Buddha, that's why if you learn anything about their history, they started somehow. They were curious, and it was the path where they got to know themselves to the highest level. So that's why anybody who has done the same work and have attained that level of consciousness, by eating from these guys, meaning, now the knowledge, the energy that they're sharing, you able to understand it and allow that information to transform you, then you're becoming just like them. Another way of saying that you also becoming just like God because that's what their images were. That's what their goal was, then that becomes your goal. But for you to become that, obviously, that's when, you have to become in alignment with who you are. So now, when I'm talking about, I help you to become mentally and emotionally balanced, let's start off with your emotions. What I'm doing there pretty much is helping you to identify and to understand what your emotions are. You got to be in touch with your emotions. So, meaning you have to understand what emotions or energy is, and then now for you to identify your emotional pattern, most likely you to create it. And then now at this point, if there's any blockages or any sort of resistance, you know how to handle it. But for you to have that knowledge, or even for you to be attentive to your emotions, you got to know what they are. And then you got to acknowledge them. And the reason why, well, shit, we all know, let's just say, someone who's not emotionally balanced, you will see it. It will be triggered. They were triggered a certain way. But most importantly, there's a certain state of mind that they will also have. If you're depressed, you're not gonna make the best fucking decision ever, like, because you're already depressed. So your morale is not up there. So therefore, you gotta have that imbalance. So the reason why those two have to become in, and that's how by having those two coming in balance, that's how you attain the highest level of consciousness. Now, when you're talking about mentally intelligent, balance, the same thing. It's the same baseline understanding. You have to understand how your mind works. Now, from there, by you understanding how your mind works, then you would have to understand how were you being conditioned. Because by you becoming mentally balanced, what you're doing is you become more aware of your mental, how it works, how it's being influenced, and then now you would have to deal with your ordinary life. Now you have society, you have your culture, you have every all of these things shape you on how to see life. That's why if you're an American, there's a certain perspective you have of life. If you're European, there's a certain perspective you have of it. It's all by design. But for you to elevate, to go beyond, or to be more in control of your own mind, that's why it's important for you to learn how to be an American without being an American. Meaning now you understand this is where I was born, but another part of me now, how am I shaping my perspective? How am I looking at the world? Is it from that perspective? If it is, then you're not mentally balanced because it was created for you. So therefore, you're not going to have the highest perspective because your perspective is already one-sided. It's like, let's just say, if you say that's what we all know it, being a Republican, you are one-sided. The problem with being one-sided with as if in anything is that you're not going to see the full picture. Because seeing the full picture would means you would have to understand and adopt and see the good quality. Let's just say if you are a Republican, well, what about a fucking Democrat? Is everything they're saying is bad? And if it's not, why not adopting the good shit that they have and the bad shit that you have? Do you see what I'm saying? Then now at this point, you become someone that has a clearer perspective because now you can see the problem from multiple angles. And that's what when I'm talking about, and in just a minute I'll be talking about spirituality. Well, that is the very foundation of spirituality in a sense of your true essence. But anyway, with all that being said, in summary, I'm the spiritual healer that holds the mirror of wisdom so you could reflect and see yourself. And let's just say, I mean, vice versa too, because I talked about one sided in terms of you being emotional. Same thing happens if you're too intellect. If you are too intellect, you will miss out on some of the small things. And those small things aren't that small. That's where your emotions are very important. It gives you a broader perspective. If you're someone who's only acting based on your intellect, then you become very rigid. You're stepping on toe. The law's the law, and that's it. And then you could miss out on a whole lot of other shit. Not can you will miss out on a lot of other shit because the minute you are one-sided, it simply means you're not gonna see the bigger picture. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Now, if you're coming back, you already know today's Sunday. Come get your medicine. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here again. You'll know exactly what we do here. It's nothing but love, looking to elevate one another. And listen, man, each one teach one. You see someone else, you tell them what you see here. Tell them what you see. Please do. Do yourself that favor. Or if you want to replicate what you see here, you tell a friend, listen, keep it going. Tell a friend to tell a friend and to tell another friend. This is for you. It's nothing but love over here. Let's have our supper, man. It's only always gonna be a holy communion. Now, If this is your first time or if you're coming back, you already know. As part of my routine, guys, I always like to take the time and talk about spirituality for just a little bit. And the reason being is if you get to see what spirituality truly is, which is technically the universe, the mental of the universe. You know, I was, I'm being very, very dramatic today. Pay attention to my words. You see, it's to identify how the universe, the mental of the universe, the mental of everything around you, including yourself. And the minute you start understanding that, listen, you're already on your way to self mastery. And the Kabbalion says it on a whole different way, too. I mean, it's not that different. I'm simply giving you the meaning of it. But they said it in a way I would have to read it again. And at this point, we'll get truly dramatic. But anyway, in other words, when we're talking about spirituality, is nothing but your regular life. Your regular life, meaning, but it goes a little bit deeper because your regular life is not as it appears to be. The Indian called this world, the world that we're living in, the 3D, as most people call it, Earth. It's a world of illusion. What that means is that nothing is what it appears to be. For instance, even when you're looking at yourself, you are more than just dick and pussy, flesh and bones. And even if you're looking at ourselves and everything that we do in our language, the things that we do, we go out on vacation, we understand it's good to have a good state of mind, even to be with somebody else. There are other aspect of you that is more than just what you appear to be. That's when now there's something called the occult. The occult now is dealing with those sacred texts. I like to call them the manual, those manuscript or the scriptures. And what this is dealing with is giving you the understanding of your ordinary world because it's not as it appears to be. The more you start to understand about your nature, the deeper you're going, the less, I mean, the more it's like it's that's how you look beyond the veil. You start to discover there's a lot more to you than just what you appear to be. That's why now, when you become spiritual, what you're doing is you have acknowledged those divine qualities in you. Then now you understand how important it is for you to meditate. Oh my fucking God. Congratulations, by the way. But I'm just trying to give you the proper understanding of what you're dealing with here. Because spirituality is the foundation of what I'm talking about here. Now, there has been a lot of misconception about spirituality. One of the very first one, or one of the major ones, is for you not to see divinity in you, meaning you only look at yourself from dick and pussy. You only see your flesh and bones. Then your interpretation of what life is would be, you go to college, you have kids, you pay your taxes, then you make sure you save a little bit of money. The kids are going to college, and you keep going, and this is what living life is. Then, of course, you have your political aspect. Then you have this country, that country. Then you having the conversation and live the world beyond. What is it? Live the world behind. Then you become concerned with just that. And there's a lot greater to you, baby. There's a lot more to you. You know what I'm saying? But it makes sense because it is by design. It's not an accident. We're living in a world where people are competing against one another. Like this is all by design, meaning you were trained to live your life on who you should be. And that's when you adopt something called self-image. And as you guys see here, this is going to be part three of self-esteem, and I'm going to touch on that for you guys. You're going to love it. Now, you will appreciate it. So now, at this point, you become concerned with your self-image. It's all in the mix. And as you becoming aware with your self-image, then you have substitute pretty much your self-esteem for your self-image. But keep that in mind. I'm gonna go back to that. But for now, let's go back to spirituality. So the biggest misconception comes out of ignorance because you only look at yourself from a one-sided perspective. Then of course when you have that kind of perspective, let's just say talking to the dead would be something paranormal. Understanding psychic gifts would be paranormal because your normalcy now is just what you can see and that only. And as I should say, I was able to intelligently come up with the term, you're looking at yourself as dick and pussy. I'm proud of myself. I'm so smart. All right. So now another big misconception is to look at spirituality, let's just say, as religion. Now, religion in what it means in today's world, pretty much it's different sets of beliefs or different belief systems, right? Because now you have Christianity that see things a certain way, you have Buddhism that see things a certain way, and then you have so many different other, then that's what you're calling spirituality now. Okay, that's a little better, but that's not it. Spirituality it embodies all of it. Now, let me give you a perfect example. If you're a Christian, then you believe in Jesus Christ, that is your savior, that is your God. If you're a Buddhist, then Buddha becomes your man, becomes your God. Now, spirituality now would come in and tell you, you know what? You acting, your behavior comes out of the God that you have chosen. Because now what we're doing by dealing with spirituality, that's what makes it an esoteric knowledge. You're going beyond just what you're looking at. It's not a coincidence. I'll give you a perfect example, right? It's not a coincidence. Only Christianity, right? They always look at other religion as that's not the correct one, or that's the other side that's dealing with the devil. Well, that is part of their narrative. Because it is part of their narrative and that they believe in that narrative, then they act like it. If you're dealing with any type of Christian, they will always let you know whatever other religion, it's not right. And it's true to them because that's the instruction that they received. If I were to become, let's just say, a 7 day Adventist right here, right now, well, Saturday would have a different meaning for me than your Saturday. And my action would be in accordance to my understanding of what this Saturday means to me now. So your God or whoever you praying to is creating your reality. In other words, you are creating your reality out of that God. Now that's when spirituality comes in to let you understand that. Because somebody else will believe in Buddhism. Do you notice every other religion they accept everybody else? Well, you're gonna have to show me where in their story or mythology that says for them not to accept any other god. You're not gonna see it. So therefore, they behave that way. I'm just trying to help you to see the bigger picture, and that's the only way you're gonna become the Christ-like. Because those figures, just like I was talking about, they are a representation of that highest level of consciousness. That's why if Jesus were to come back now, the same people who were talking about him would kill him again. And the narrative shows you that too. And this is where Christianity is very confusing too. You know what I'm saying? You have a man who claim to be the son of God. How would I know this motherfucker was not lying? Because he does miracle? And who the fuck does he think he is to claim that he's God or the only son of God? If I were to tell you that today, what would you tell me? In fact, the whole Christian shit, in fact, how do you identify seeing God image in you and belittle yourself at the same time? I mean, I get it. You could say the Father that's greater than you, but he's also in you. I tell you what, if you want to say you ain't shit, well, at least because he's in you, he made you the shit. I'll take that. If you want to be politically correct. Well, what you guys are doing is exactly what Christianity was intended for you to do. Meaning, now, if because that's why they use Christianity to enslave your ass, because they understand the true meaning of mythology. There's a reason why they wanted their God to be your God. So again, I'm not going to be stuck on that, but I want you to see the bigger picture. Because when we're dealing with spirituality, it is your true essence. That's why it goes beyond religion or some sort of belief system. And another reason too, a true spiritual man, like for me, that's why I say knowledge is wisdom, regardless where it comes from. It's got to be that. So to be a man of God, honestly, a divine being, that's how you should be thinking. That's the frequency you should be on. But a lot of that has to do with you knowing your true nature. So again, going back, because I just wanted to sort of like show you the differences, about when we're talking about spirituality here. That's why, like for me, I quote the Bible, I quote, whatever the fuck. Do you understand? Because I'm not one-sided. And if you're one-sided, how can you see the full picture? How can you be at your highest level of consciousness? It's not going to happen. So if Jesus were to come back now, you motherfuckers would be the first one to kill him. The one who did that all that Jesus stuff. Because as a man, he claimed to be God. Did he not? And how am I supposed to believe him? I mean, I'm saying that to say, I mean, shit. Who the fuck this motherfucker think he is? what I'm saying? And that's when he'll tell you, well, you wouldn't get it because you're not of it. Meaning, if you only see yourself as dick and pussy, how do you see God in you? You can only see the God in you if you see God in you. And if you see God in you and you know, and I see God in me, then you would know I see the God in me. And that's what you do when you love in yourself. When you love in yourself, now you can love somebody else because now you're looking at those divine quality in that person. Now you're dealing with their self, not their image. Because when you're dealing with somebody else's image, it's what they are on paper. And again, I guess I'm gonna just throw that in there. Then again, you'll never have there's no self. You have no self-esteem. But anyway, to make a long story short, spirituality is nothing but yourself. And now you have the occult now that's dealing with those esoteric wisdom to help you to identify the things that you don't see about you. And that's how it's helping you to have a deeper understanding of your ordinary reality. Then now you could talk about chi, you could talk about we're living in a fucking electromagnetic field. You're becoming more conscious of that. Guess what? Where do you get your electricity from? You don't see it, but then it's there. Is that air that you're breathing? Then now you start, you know what I'm saying, looking at things from a different perspective. So now with all of that being said, that kind of knowledge, of self knowledge, self consciousness, which is spirituality pretty much, even if you're not conscious of it too, it's still talking about your story. And that's why it's important. I also talk about the science of ignorance or the dark side, which is what we're living now. The reality is this is truly the dark side. Now the other side we call it the dark side, that is truly the light side. Because that's where we need to go. And out of that darkness, meaning the things that we don't see, we grab the light, we bring in this in this over here. So you truly, that's how you're purifying not just yourself, your existence, your environment. You're radiating. You're becoming conscious, the enlightened one, the bright one. It goes by so many different names. And that's spirituality for you. And that's what I use. That's the foundation of my knowledge. So when I'm talking to you or anything I'll be talking about derives from the self. So if you know anything about the occult, the esoteric knowledge, then you have the Kabbalion, the Hermetics, all of this shit, or those sacred shit, they're always trying to tell you is hidden. Not because it's kept away from you, but it's because you got to look for it. You got to go inward. You got to look for the unknown. And that's what the occult is. Spirituality as a whole. That was for you, baby. It's on the house. We're tipping out, baby. You know what I'm saying? We're doing God's work. Now, with no further ado, let's delve into self-esteem. So now already you gotta see, I'm helping you to see the direct connection with spirit or that living mind that you are, your true essence, or spirituality for lack of better terms, whichever one you feel comfortable with. How I mean, this is the type of knowledge that I'm talking about. But most importantly, it all got to do with the self. So this is part three because I realize how important it is, not just for me to emphasize on a couple things, but for me to expand on a couple shit too. So when we talking about, obviously now you could see the difference between a self-image and self-esteem. But what I also want you to keep in mind, there is a set or a chain of events that takes place, that happens depending on how you're looking at yourself. See, we call this the matrix because we have created that. How? Well, because we have created a world where we only identify ourselves with just the physical self. They can pussy. So because you do that now, everybody's living their lives on who they should be. There is an image, there's accomplishments, there's competitions, there's hatred, there's jealousy, there's envious, there's greed. Those are some of the things that comes out of self-image, and that's what we're gonna expand on a little bit more. So now, because I'm trying to get you to see the picture, now that we know there's a set of event that takes place, of course, one of the main thing. Okay, what you call haters. We're gonna talk about haters for a second because and here's something else too. And I talk about the shadow self. And again, what you're truly dealing with in this world, you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with energy, you're dealing with people's shadows. That's what you're dealing with. And you are to start looking at people that way. That's how you get to see who they truly are. And that's what becoming conscious, for the most part, it's also all about. Then I talk about the energy vampires. I mean, ultimately, again, we're talking about your regular life. Here we are just living this, and then someone that could be a whole fucking monster, and that's the war, if you want to say, between good and evil. And that's what's taking place in the world that we're living in. People's ignorance, misunderstanding, or the fact that they're only dealing with their self image. Well, there you go. So now, when you adopt a mentality or you're looking at yourself from a self image perspective, achievements, if I were to praise you, you know that you are only praised or being praised because of what you have, because you're dealing with images. Listen, there's no secret in it. It's all by design. So that's why it's not how much you see shit. Being born again now, you start looking at things from a spiritual perspective, from the spirit, from yourself perspective, my friend. So if anybody were to praise you, well, guess what? It's because of what you have. And for you to accomplish, or for you to be validated, or for you, then you have to accomplish shit for you to be respected. then you also understand you're living in a world now. I mean, shit. Now, if you want to get with this girl, and I went through it myself, you know what I'm saying? I gotta look good because it was no longer me in terms of myself, my qualities, none of that. It was my fucking images. That's why when people judge you, you take it seriously. In fact, you don't even want to be judged because criticism now, you're taking it to heart. Because again, that's your identity. Yo, you never like when you go out, you see, look at other people like, uh, 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 I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Or if a motherfucker can't tell you he's none of this shit. Now, well, currently, I'm doing this now, but in the future, we're gonna be a lawyer, we're gonna be a doctor. Then now you have other motherfuckers who's looking to size you up. Where you from? You know what I'm saying? Because we're also in the gang mentality as a category. We're gonna put everybody in the fucking. Everybody has a box. Bro, you a fucking Haitian ass nigga? Get your ass out of here. I politely stick my ass up and walk the fuck out. But anyway, so regardless, so it's like, okay, so this is where you're from, and but all of that, and that's how we are looking to identify somebody. Now, don't get it fucked up. Some of that may well say a little bit about you, but that's exactly what it is, just a little bit about you. You know what I'm saying? I know for me, I've done all kinds of well, not all kinds of jobs, but shit, I like to tell people I'm a part-time accountant. Not because I work part-time, but because it is part-time to me. Because I don't identify myself with that. Anything you do part-time, it's not your identity, dog. Yeah, so I'm dealing with you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because again, this is what spirituality is all about too. Now that has become my ordinary life, and this is the ordinary shit that I'm dealing with too. So now I tell you, yo, man, that shit's part time for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Already, I already fucked up your whole plan. I'll be fucking up niggas' plan. Hey, I'll do that shit on purpose. You're not gonna do this shit here. You're gonna take it right over there, throw it right there. But anyway, I'm saying all of that to say I'm bullshitting. Well, actually, not really, but you know, to be politically accepted, which I don't give a fuck about. But anyway, so now you can't take fucking criticism, and you don't want to be judged anyway. Neither, you do your best not to be judged and to be looked at a certain way. It's not a coincidence. People are all afraid to ask certain questions because when you do, I mean, you're gonna look stupid. It could be true, but that's why they also tell you too. You want to be stupid for 5 minutes, or do you want to be stupid for the rest of your life? So again, this is also to show you there's absolutely no true benefit in self-image. It's actually a failing cycle. That's why you always have to accomplish more. You'll never be satisfied. More, it's more, and more is never enough. God damn, y'all got a lot going on. You see what I'm saying? Whereas when I'm doing it from the self perspective, it's coming out of love. That's why I'm not attached to my achievement. I'm proud of them, but I'm already happy. The happiness in itself, that's why they tell you, you know, the benefit of hard working is not the fucking result. It's who you have become. But that's a whole different conversation. That's for the grown-ups. That's for the grown-ups. But for now, let's just stick to what we're doing. But again, you never know. That's why I got to make sure everybody's getting some too, because I might have some grown-ups that's listening. And just so you know, for the record, I salute you. And this is for you too, baby. You tell them what you see. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking the most out of this was made for you. And I would have to say custom made too. And that's why this is for the livings. But anyway. So now dealing with self-image, criticism, I mean, there's no growth. We all know if a kid didn't keep getting up, we wouldn't be walking right now. But with self-image, you don't see the I mean, beauty creates more beauty. Small accomplishments brings other accomplishments. That's why when you're talking about your haters, when you blaming yourself, they blame themselves for shit that they don't have. So if you don't have it, and their mentality too, it's do or die. It's either they have it, it's either they don't have it. There's no in between. There's no such thing as working to get to where you need to be because they're looking at it from a self-image perspective, meaning they are blaming themselves if they don't have it. And as you're blaming yourself because you don't have it, what's the point of getting it? You see what I'm saying? And that's why your haters, the people who are hating on hating on other people, they never do shit. Never. And the people who are working on yourself, you're not gonna blame nobody else. It's all by design. I'm trying to show you the chain of events that's taking place. That's why you got to seek the kingdom of God. And if you do not, well, that's that invisibility in you. Those are those divine qualities. Once you adopt them, and you have to materialize them in your flesh, then you become the God walking amongst men. Then your words become powerful. Your energy. That's how you give insights to the blinds. I'm giving you the recipe, baby. So now going back to, I don't want to keep going back on this bullshit, but I mean, but again, I want you to see the chain of events. It's by design. There's no coincidence over here. Now, which side are you on? Well, that's when being born again comes in. That's when that aha moment, that acknowledgement, that self recognition comes in. Oh, this is for you. This is for you. So now when you're looking at your haters, they don't do shit. What's the point? So that's why they look at other people when they're doing. It's almost like they always look at somebody else as being lucky. Lucky? You think Denzel Washington is lucky? You think the Fugees is fucking lucky? You think Jamie Foxx is lucky? Come on, man. Who the fuck do you think is lucky? The fuck? Those are hard-working motherfuckers. You think Eddie Murphy's lucky? You think Mike Tyson is lucky? Come on, man. But because you're only looking at yourself from the self image, you only look at the results. You don't see anything in between. And it's somehow directly connected. It's just it's just it's that chain of event. Once you're looking at the self image, well, image is everything, obviously. You know what I'm saying? And that's why in that society, most people are living their lives based on who they should be. And that's why people are seeking for other people validation. It's all by design. And that's the true science of ignorance, too, at the same time. I'm showing you the science of ignorance as at the same time. It is a science. And that's why for us, I had to walk on both sides. In fact, I came from that side. How the fuck do you think I know what I'm talking about? The fuck? Man, come on now. But you cannot acknowledge, I mean, you will never acknowledge that side of you until you come out of it. Just like toxic. If you're toxic, you don't know that you're toxic. That's why I always tell people, if you can't tell me how stupid you used to be, well, motherfucker, you still stupid. Because I don't know anybody who didn't think at some point, or maybe let's just say you weren't stupid, but I mean stupid, but there's gotta be some shit you didn't know. Isn't that how we grow? The fuck? And you'll see anybody who truly done the work, who have truly grown within themselves. That's why we're not afraid of talking about our fucking mistakes. In fact, we say thank you to them. Because if it wasn't for me, that's why you have to embrace the science of ignorance. But anyway, I already talk about that. Look it up. Science of ignorance. I got it. I gave it to you already. But again, I'm just also showing you how it's all connected as well. And also showing you how you as a spirit, how this is being displayed in your life. And the minute you get to see the God in you, come on now, your reality changes. And from the self, that's what they said, the fruit of the spirit, then it's compassion. It's love. It's one helping another. You're not being judged over here, baby. Oh, not at all, King. That's why this is love over here, nigga. The fuck? Everybody's accepted. as I shouldn't say as long as you understand it, because we gotta create boundaries. Now the boundaries is important. Like we cannot cast our pearls before swine. We can do that. That's against the rules. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, if you know anything about the mystery school that we had in fucking Egypt, not everybody was fucking accepted because there's a certain level of understanding about the self you would have to show. Not because, like this is something like we're hiding, there's something bad about it. You know what I'm saying? You are the fucking Illuminati or the true one. Or at least I know I am. Because all that is saying is you are the illuminated one. But if you want to be stuck going by other people's definition, hey, that's on you. That's why we speak from authority over here. But anyway, going back to now that you understand, no, 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 going back to Now you blaming. I mean, you can only see you look only looking at the fucking results, and because you're looking at the fucking results, it's like okay, so and so did it. He's lucky. Then now you're looking at yourself. You're saying, okay, well he's lucky. I'm not getting it. That means I'm not lucky. And if I'm not lucky, what's the point for me to try to get it? That's what makes it a failing cycle. You're not gonna have a negative opinion about you and be great. You gotta let me know who I don't know. If you don't nurture yourself, if you don't water yourself, I mean, you're not gonna get a plant if it's the plant is not watered. But from the haters' perspective, they want a plant before they water the fucking seeds for it to become a plant. And then now, when they become a hater now, what they do at this point, they sabotage other people. Well, because now I don't have it, I'm not gonna let you have it. Do you see what you're dealing with? That's that chain. It's all connected. Then that's what your haters are. That's why a hater never look at never see your fucking effort, bro. That's like you're like, what the fuck? Like you think I just got here? You see what I'm saying? What the fuck? What the fuck? But how stupid though? You see what I'm saying? But they become one-sided because they're not in alignment with the self. Because you got to understand your true sight. It's your consciousness. Just like the way we listen, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You are a reflection of your fucking life. That's why they also tell you someone who says I can do whatever the fuck and someone else that says I can't do whatever the fuck, they both right. And but unfortunately for them though, the one who's saying they can't do it, he's right, but at the same time, that's only because you have not seen the bigger picture. That's when you're gonna realize that you are the creator. So now when you start connecting with the self now, it's a little bit different. Oh, it's a lot different. That's why we tell people, well, that's why gratitude is a powerful thing if you understand what gratitude is. Because gratitude is your foundation for fucking success. If you're not happy with what you have, you'll never be happy with whatever the fuck. It don't matter. If you're not happy with little, you'll never be happy with a lot. I don't give a fuck. Not gonna happen. And again, in part two, I also explained to you guys why fame and success, it's always, I mean, when you talk about fame and money, it's always secondary. It's always forever going to be secondary. But if you're looking at it from a images perspective, then you look at it as being first. And even then, you're not even looking at it correctly because a lot of people that have success, if you're not happy about your success, it means nothing. That's the idea. And ironically, that's why you got to go beyond the self to truly see the self. That's why only through spirituality, you'll get to see the world for truly what it is. That's how you get the bigger picture. You're not one sided anymore. Like for me, when I'm looking at, I see a lot of dots. Yeah, because I'm looking at the matrix from a whole different perspective. You looking at the lady in the red dress, huh? Nigga, you looking at the lady in the red dress. The fuck are you doing? Once you acknowledge what you have. And here's something else too. You're not focusing on what you don't have. What you don't have is not going to help you because you don't have it. And you can only nurture yourself. You got to start seeing some qualities in you, bro. Find your beauty. You see what I'm saying? That's why I would tell people find the things that you love because that will unlock the whole other shit in you. And that's the gift you would have you sharing with you. This is, come on, baby. Say, ho, 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 motherfucker. I'm Santa Claus, bitch. These are your presents. I'm giving you your gifts. So now, when you become in alignment with the self, oh man, it's a whole different ball game, baby. Learn how to love yourself. I mean, and here's a disclaimer too. Let me say this because a lot of people they think when you love yourself, you don't want more out of life. That's a big misconception. How did you get this so wrong? Listen, everybody knows that, and I hope you know it. This is what it says. It goes like this. If you don't know where you come from, then where the fuck are you gonna go? Loving yourself doesn't mean you don't want more. No, it simply means that you understand you value the shit that you have. And now with the shit that you have, you're gonna build on it to get the shit that you don't have. Now the motherfucker who's being a hater, or because they're looking at self images, they're only looking at the results, who already said that they're unlucky. Now, what's the point of making any effort? And that's what makes it a failing cycle because you're not taking any action but talking shit about other people. Meanwhile, you fucking up your own life. That's why a hater never do shit. The jealous, envious motherfuckers. And at that point, because you are unlucky, guess what? You're gonna sabotage everybody else. That's why you don't want to let a hater know what the fuck you're doing. Because they're gonna fuck it up. You hear it all the time. I'm trying to get you to look at it from a deeper perspective. That's what's taking place. And of course, for me, that's why I have compassion for them too, because I understand the science of ignorance. And that's why too, like when we're talking about the self, that's why it makes it a polarity. That's why we don't ignore ignorance. You embrace it. Don't be ignorant by ignoring ignorance. Do not be ignorant by ignoring ignorance. Another way of saying that what you don't know is gonna get you. Always does, nigga. Always does. It's always the things you don't know that's gonna fuck you up. But if you think you know, well, you don't know. Motherfuckers don't know. I'm saying, remember when my guy, I'm saying this is Zen, nigga. Bon Zen. So now, the self, then now you're gonna be dealing with your self-esteem now. Now the esteem part is the health of yourself as you're nurturing yourself. And I hope by now you understand. Again, going back to the misconception of thinking like when you know, it doesn't mean you don't have a bigger goal. No, in fact, you become more successful. You put yourself in a better position. That's why, people, if you're working out, bro, you want to lose weight after a month or 3, 4 months, you're not getting any fucking results. Most people will quit, man. That's just the way it goes. But if you start building on some of the shit, okay, I may not start losing weight yet, but guess what? I'm feeling better. Ah, that's it. I'm feeling better. Or I'm feeling more flexible. Or I become a little bit quicker. I have more strength. If you're building on that, well, guess what? Sooner or later, baby, you'll get there in no time. So that's why gratitude, oh, it's powerful. But it is a state of mind. It's how you're looking at it. It doesn't mean you're settling for less. Not at all. It simply means I know I may not have this yet, but I'm not gonna feel bad because I got this. And I'm gonna keep making this better. We're gonna get we're gonna get that in due time. Well, guess what you're doing? You're watering yourself. You're nurturing yourself. And that's the cycle that breeds even more success. That's why self-esteem is the shit. Shit, I'll make a part fucking 4 and 5 if I have to. What the fuck? That's why there's no benefit in trying to belittle yourself. That politically correct shit, that's for dummies. There's no benefit in making yourself look like trash. Well, if you do, well, guess what? You're gonna not only feel like trash, and you're gonna make sure you stay trash. That's what that mentality does. That's what makes it a failing cycle. It's a never ending. You're chasing your own fucking tail. Guess what? $1 billion ain't enough, nigga. Well, go get some more. Whereas you could still get more, but when you're already happy, it's different. And that $1 trillion is gonna mean more than a fucking $1 million. Truly mean more. Not in terms of numbers only, but because of other things. Also, like how you develop, how maybe you touch other people's life, whatever the fuck. When you accomplish that, now to me, that's what a successful life is. Like my man Biggie said, I went from negative to positive, and baby, that is success. We're not on this side. No, no, failure is not over here. So there's a couple people that think yes, I'm lucky. I'm the winner. You're gonna find out why though. You're right. Now I'm just letting you know why. I mean, it's unfortunate you don't see the winner in you. Well, shit. That's between you and you. That's why you created your own life. And that's why you don't belong on this side neither, nigga. Ever. So again, dealing with the self is everything. Even for love, when you're dealing with self image, how do you care about the health of somebody else in terms of their energy, their being? You're never gonna love that person. How? Well, you got to see them for who they are. And when you're going by self image, you're also doing your best not to show who the fuck you truly are. Oh shit! You know what I'm saying? Then now here you are seeking for a relationship expert. Order in the court. Oh shit! You guys are killing me, man. Woo! Y'all working me out. Come on. Hmm? This is crazy. But it's beautiful at the same time because I had to embrace the science of ignorance too. You know what I'm saying? Because there are two sides of the same coin. Because as you're no longer toxic, you understand what toxicity is. It's also adding more to your wisdom. Get it? I mean, hey, I didn't mean to war. You know, hey, sometimes you gotta water some shit down. If it was too much, I got it. I got it. Let's add a little bit of water. We gonna smooth the shit out, baby. I got you. I got you. We ain't judging. You know what I'm saying? We're not judging at all. So again, dealing with the self is the way to go. Is the way to go. It's the only way to go. Now, another misconception when you're dealing with the self is that, not only just the political, saying bullshit, but also people think like you tend to belittle other people. No, 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 no. How did you get that so wrong? Me understanding that I am the creator, it helps me to embrace you as another creator, consciously or unconsciously. The whole idea of the monk saying namaste to a lot of motherfuckers, they don't only say it to motherfuckers who acknowledge, Buddha. No. From the God, even when you don't acknowledge it, I still see it in you. And that's why we have compassion. You get it? I hope you do. Because if you do, it will take you a long way. So far away. Listen, you go beyond. How was the name of that movie? You'll be leaving the world behind. If you're truly looking to leave the world behind, I'm giving you the key, baby. I should call this "Leave the World Behind." What? Fuck it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be sued. I don't want people saying I'm using their name. You know what I'm saying? But just so you know, I'm gonna find a way of putting that shit in there. You know what I'm saying? Living the world beyond too. Now, no, it's a total misconception to think you see the greatness in you. It means you see. bullshitting other people. Nah, it doesn't work that way. Because when you truly see it in you, it makes you like more open to other people. And guess what you do too? You tell them, man, listen, man, you could do a lot more than me. Only if you see it. Wasn't that what Jesus told you? Well, my friend, I'm here to tell you the same thing. How can you be mad at me? Well, at this point, you also mad at Jesus. And if that's the case, that's how I know you're not of that. Damn 32, goddamn hour already. You know what I'm saying? I gotta hit the streets, you know what I'm saying? I gotta hit the streets for a second. But yeah, I think we pretty much talk again, self-esteem, baby. You gotta become in alignment with the self. And I'm just showing you a lot of the chain of event. You're nurturing yourself. Appreciating the self, and that's truly the recipe to success. And that's how you're growing. And we're gonna leave it here, man. I mean, it's already past an hour. You already know love is love. Always remember, listen, the remedy of the pain is in the pain. Wisdom is wisdom, regardless where it comes from. For you to be you, nobody else could be around. I shan't. Mali.